Hello guys and welcome to my Season 6 Annie mid lane guide. I'm going to be showing and telling you everything you need to know to play her successfully in the mid lane. I like to run 12 ferocity, 18 cunning, gives you all the AP you need and all the bursting potential you need. It's just everything you want. On rare occasion you can run 18 in ferocity, but I don't suggest it. I suggest taking the thunderlord's decree. You can also switch out the assassin for the secret stash or runic affinity. I just prefer assassin for the early game advantage. Alright, so for your runes, you're going to want to run flat AP Quints, flat Magic Pen Reds, flat Armor Seals, and scaling AP Blues. However, these are up to change. It depends on the matchup, and it depends on your personal preference. This is what works great for me. It might not work great for you, especially if you're in a really hard matchup like Annie versus Zerath. If you're going against someone who has more range than you, which is not a good matchup for Annie, and they're AP, consider taking health scaling or flat health seals and magic resist blues, because Annie already has such high damage. Taking the magic resist blues won't really put you very far behind your damage area. Also, taking the health will also keep you alive in lane. However, if it is a favorable lane matchup, I suggest running this. Alright, and for your items on Annie, this is what I highly prefer and recommend to anyone trying to learn her or get good with her. I like to start Doran's Ring, 2 health pots, and the warding totem trinket. I keep it the whole game. Early game, you 9 times out of 10 want to rush your Rod of Aegis. It's really strong. Gives you ridiculous amounts of HP and AP, freaking mana, everything. And plus the healing on it is ridiculous. It's so strong on Annie, especially since Annie has such high base damage already. Absolutely insane. However, you don't have to rush it. In certain situations, like if you're up against a Swain or a Mundo or something weird, you can rush Morel and Namicon, but I don't always recommend that. And on very rare occasion, you might rush Riley's Crystal Scepter. It just depends. Aw, damn. My bad, guys. Alright, so once you've decided what you want to build, like I'll usually get my Chaos Protector and my normal boots. And then once I have my Chaos Protector, I'll upgrade to Moby Boots and get my Rod of Aegis. And then once I've got my Moby Boots and Rod of Aegis, I usually try to pick up a Luden's Echo or Riley's Crystal Scepter. After that, it's just whatever I feel like would be best, whether it be an Azonia's or a Morellinomicon or a Rabadon or a brand new Zoman, whatever you feel like you need for the situation, what'll keep you alive, what'll keep you doing damage, whatever your team needs. A lot of you might be hating on the Boots of Mobility, but if you think about it, Annie has tons of CC, it's ranged, and she relies on getting close enough to her enemies to use it. Not to mention, if you're winning in lane, or if you're losing in lane for that matter, having mobility boots will help you roam around and start killing other lanes and helping your teammates and putting yourself farther ahead. And I always suggest, once you've gotten a couple of items, upgrading your boots of mobility to the distortion ones, because it'll give you shorter cooldown on your flash, plus it'll give you the bonus of the 20% movement speed for 1 second, which makes it insane in a team fight, because when you go to use your Tibbers, you just flash Tibbers, and bam, you just like stun the whole enemy team and they're fucked. They can't do anything. They're all going to die. It's a really strong, best part about Annie right there in a nutshell. And if you're, like I said, your core items are Rod of Aegis and Riley's. The Riley's is really good because Tibbers has a burning aura around him like a Sunfire cape. It's really strong, and that actually applies the Riley's Crystal Scepter. So once you get this, Tibbers will constantly nonstop slow everybody around him, which is absolutely insane if you think about it. You can kite really hard with it because if someone's chasing you, you just tell Tibbers to attack him, and they'll be so slow they'll never be able to catch you, and they'll be taking loads and loads of damage. So yeah, that's about it for items. Let's jump into some gameplay. So as you can see, starting off in lane, I started the Doran's Ring 2 health pots. And when you get in lane, if the person has more range than you, you're going to have to play a little bit cautious. So just try to sit back and farm with your auto attacks and Qs. Try not to miss any CS, because you're going to need every single CS you can get, so you can get your Catalyst Protector, because that's just such a core item for Annie early and mid game. So as you're watching this, you can tell I'm trying to throw enough auto attacks at the minion to where I can comfortably hit it with my Q without coming close to missing it. And I don't even care on my passive, as you know, like after every 4 spells, it's gonna be a stun. And I don't really care if I'm wasting my stun on the minions. I'm not going to walk past his minions to hit him with my stun, because then his minions are going to hit me, and then he's going to turn around and hit me with some spells. So until I have at least some levels or an item or some kind of lane advantage, I'm not going to miss out on last hitting to just harass him a little bit, because it's not really going to make that much of a difference. Once he is close to out of mana, or he's poking me and I'm going to have to start fighting back, you can just step forward and start harassing. opening it up with your Q and auto attacks, and if you can, landing your W since it has such high damage. Your Q and your W and your ult have such high base damage, is ridiculous. You can always flash in, ignite to finish the job. As you saw there, at first I poked him down a little bit with just an auto attack, a Q and a W, and then he stayed too long and I flashed in with the Q, W, ignite, and auto attack and finished it off. You're going to have to get a feel for Annie, learn her base damages a little bit, how much damage you can do, how much damage you can't do. He did come back, he teleported back in. When you do have all your spells, you can burst pretty freaking hard like you saw there. I do end up dying, but it's worth it in my opinion since Azir was missing out on a lot of experience in farm. He's still not level 6 because he came back to lane at. I was level 6 and just killed him with one burst. It was ridiculous. He comes back again. My ult's up like you saw there with just one combo. I almost kill him. If my ignite was up, he would have been dead. But I've completely pushed him out of lane and he can't farm. That's a viable strat. Even if you know you can't get the kill, if you can completely push them out of lane, it's totally worth it. And to secure kills a lot in the mid and late game, you can always just flash, ult, and just pop them up. Like you saw there, I used my ult for the extra range since it has more range than all my spells to kill Azir. And then used my Q and W plus ignite to wipe out Sion for some easy golden experience. A lot of people won't really respect your damage, and they'll just kind of stand there, especially when they know your ult isn't up. But if you land your full combo with your Thunderlord, it'll burst them so hard. Your Thunderlord in itself does like as much damage as your Q. So if you just Q, W, ignite, you're pretty much always going to get the kill. Here at 1,000 ping, so it looks a little bit funny when I'm killing him, but we get the kill anyways, so it's pretty easy. Azir has so much less farm than me at this point, so much less experience in gold, that now I can pretty much just snowball. This is very important because you need to differentiate between a good Annie and a great Annie. You need to know how to use your Tibbers. So I use Tibbers. I stun the 2 melee tank CC gods off of me. They go in to finish me. I flash. But look what I'm doing with my Tibbers. The whole time, I'm clicking R on my keyboard and toggling Tibbers to walk around them and kill them. I end up picking a kill off the Sion with my Tibbers. And right now my Tibbers is still in there doing damage to them all. With his burning aura, it basically does as much damage as 2 Sunfires. Plus Tibbers does auto attacks, which is like 3 minion auto attacks. It's really, really strong. So we turn that fight around. We turn it into 1-for-1 since Thresh died. And we completely pushed them off the turret. It was a really good trade, in my opinion, since they all came in. Ezreal stayed bot and is currently still breaking the turret. Very, very strong. Very, very smart. You just have to, after you use your Tibbers, make sure you're just clicking with R where you want him to go, and he'll do your dirty work. It's also important to win mid and late game to be walking around with your stun up and your passive up. You can do this by hitting your E and your W to get your passive up, and or farming with your Q to help get it up. And once you have that white circle around you, you know it's up, and your next attack is going to be a stun. So that's very important, so that when you're walking around the map, you can just ult or even W to get an AoE stun off, and you'll absolutely burst them down, especially since your Thunderlord, like I said, it's so OP. It does so much damage, they can't handle it. I didn't mention this, so I'll go ahead and mention it. On your leveling up your abilities, I suggest maxing your Q since it makes it so easy to farm, and it's got a lot of range. It does lots of damage. Max your Q, then your W, then your ult, then your E. I don't suggest taking a point in your E until it makes you. I suggest maxing your Q and your W and taking your ult when you can. The reason for that being your E really doesn't give you any damage, and maxing your Q and your W without even leveling up your E will give you a lot more base damage, so when you hit level 6 you'll be able to burst your opponent a lot easier and you'll have a lot more damage potential. Here is a good example of why I love Moby Boots and Luden's Echo, especially the Moby Boots. I'm getting chased down pretty hard. I was going to die. They both burned their flash to get over the wall. I'm microing my stun. I stun Sion. The Ludens is making me fast enough to start getting away, and now my Moby Boots are starting to kick in, and now they can't chase me. My teammates are mopping them up while their tanks are messing around trying to kill me. I just run around. They're getting kited, and I'm trying to manage my stun. I even kill a minion to get my stun up, and then I use my E to finish getting my stun up. Once now my passive is up, I just Tibbers, AoE ult, and we absolutely destroy them. It's a really easy game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you can take something away. Get out there and try Annie. She's tons of damage and tons of fun. Best of luck, guys.